This is MindSherpa. I am Carlos Lavado, host and one of the creators of this Awakening School. Our guest today is someone very, very, very special. She was a young shepherd when Jesus walked this planet, his student and his friend at the same time. She has channeled many books, including Jesús, mi autobiografía, and Un año de perdón, titles in Spanish, and both books already in Spanish. Her life work is speaking, writing, and teaching the core principles of truth of a group of no-physical teachers called Ananda, of course, Jesus among them. It's my distinguished honor to introduce someone who I could not respect more. Louise Spalding, welcome to MindSherpa.
Thank you, Carlos. It's wonderful to be here in person. We've done lots of messaging through typing, but this is kind of our first encounter in person. So, well, virtually in person. Pleasure. So thank you for inviting me.
Before we started, I would like to say that this channel is in life. It was created because you inspired us. I said us, not just me. With me, there are a lot of people working in this, not translating, doubting, editing, all these kind of things. You inspire us. So when I said, Tina, welcome to MindSherpa, it's like say, Tina, welcome home. So Tina, welcome home.
Oh, thank you. It's very sweet.
My first question is, there are many, channels that start reaching to Spanish-speaking people, but to people who don't know you at all, how would you introduce yourself?
Well, it depends on who I'm talking to, because if when I start talking to people, very quickly I can kind of tell where they are in their consciousness evolution. So if I detect that somebody's pretty conventional, I'll tell them that I'm just a writer. And then if they ask a question and they'll say, well, what kind of books do you write? And I say, well, I write spiritual books. And they say, oh, what kind of subjects? And I say, oh, love and religion and all different kinds of things. And if they keep pushing, then eventually I will tell them that I'm a channeler. And many conventional people won't know what a channeler is. And then I'll say, well, I'm like a spiritual medium. And they're like, oh, okay, I understand. So with those kinds of introductions, my goal is to keep the communication open. And if I tell some people I channel Jesus, the communication's over. Oh. So I'll start, and it'll be me interpreting their body language, the kind of questions they're asking. If I have a conversation with someone and they start talking about energy, or they start talking about reincarnation or something like that. That's a good clue. It gives me a good clue that they're not so conventional. And then I start saying things like, I'm a channeler. And they're like, oh, okay, you're a channeler. And I say, yeah, I've channeled a bunch of books. And they're like, oh, cool. What about? And I say, sex, death, Jesus. Then I start being a little bit more direct. And I say, oh, I have a lot of videos on YouTube. And they say, oh, okay, how do I find you? And I say, channeling Jesus. And then they look at me like, okay. And I say, don't let that intimidate you. I said, it's not religious. I said, it's based on A Course in Miracles and Jesus' true teachings, which are unconditional love and forgiveness. But usually I don't introduce myself that way until I know I'm talking to somebody who's open to it.